Hey everyone, Mike McCleary and Rich Henderson here for our weekly coaching call for Amazing Selling Machine. I want to make sure that everyone here can see and hear us okay. So to make sure, let's see, here's our question for today. We've done this before, but where is Rich actually at right now on this call? And Rich, why don't you show them your window to give them a little bit of a hint?
Yeah, just give him an extra couple of seconds because of my internet issues, I hadn't enabled questions. So they should be enabled now. And there's your hint. Hopefully my voice is making the camera point to me. So you can see out my window. I think that's long enough.
Yeah, and we can see out the window. So let's see. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Well, someone... No answers yet for me. I've got Pura Vida, but yet no, I'm not in Costa Rica. LA, no. Vegas, yes. Vivnorangi. Vegas is the correct answer. No. New York City, no. China, no. No, I'm not in Chicago. Australia, interesting. No, I'm not in Australia. So yeah, I am in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, I've got it wrong now. I'm in Las Vegas, honest. And I'm actually staying in apartments joining to the MGM, which is actually where we're holding our live event next year. So it's all pretty cool. But it looks like everyone can see in here is okay. Fine, Mike.
Excellent. All right. It's always fun to figure out where in the heck Rich is at. By the way, Rich's connection, since he is over there in an apartment in Vegas, is not the best. So we may be asking him to turn his camera off. If it gets too bad, by the way, just post in the in a comment, and then we'll have him do that. But welcome everyone to this week's ASM coaching call. We are right in the middle of the Christmas holiday season. I don't know, we've been seeing lots of posts from some incredible success stories from other ASM members, probably where a lot of you guys will be this time next year, making posts about your holiday season. So things are going great right now for so many people. We're excited to see everyone on this call get their products up and selling and launched so that you guys are ready way before Christmas, like probably way before even Prime Day. So there's a lot of really exciting things coming up for everyone. And this coaching call is all about the entire course. So anything you want to ask, anywhere from the welcome module all the way up and through module 8 is totally fair game for this call. We have the amazing mentors in the background answering questions. We have Steve, Elaine, Joanne, and Tracy. Elaine is just back from a trip that she's take, I believe. Maybe she's not even back. I don't know, but she's been gone and been watching some awesome pictures from her travels where her and her husband and friends have been going to. So she's still here dedicated to answer questions for us. That's awesome. But that's all I really have for announcements. So I'm going to turn this over to Rich in a second here, so that he can talk about a couple topics before he hands it back to me.
All right, so I'm going to try it with my camera on and we'll see what happens. If my voice breaks up and stuff, just let us know and I'll try turning my camera off. So just a couple of things. First of all, Seller Central, especially for those people who are like just getting around to setting up their Seller Central account. Please make sure you watch all the lessons in the welcome module about setting up your account at least twice before creating your account. It's really important that you understand exactly how everything works. We've been getting a few issues with people getting reviewed, which then takes time because you have to write emails back and forth, literally because they didn't watch the training and made it like a simple mistake. It's really important you watch the training. And if you're not 100% sure about something before you create your account, go and ask in the community. The mentors will understand how this works, and if it's something they don't know, then they'll pull me into it and I'll be able to answer it for you. So one of the most important things when you get started is to make sure you have your documentation ready. The documentation takes two forms. One is during your actual registration, they'll ask you, normally it's either for your driver's license or passport and a bank statement at that point. However, if you get through all that, you complete your setup, and they send you an email saying, welcome, congratulations. They may send you another email a few hours later or even the next day saying, we weren't able to clarify your documents, or that your account is under review. don't panic if that happens. If your account's under review, they'll ask you for a utility bill to confirm you've got a valid credit card on file and a business license. So you need to send them a utility bill. I'll talk about that in a second. The business license, you just literally put in the message, I haven't created my business, I haven't got my business license yet. It's not something that's required. If you've created an LLC or a limited company, then you need to, you don't have to, but send them the, I forgot what it's called now, basically the document that shows you own the company. It's pretty straightforward. It's really important that that document matches the formatting requirements of Amazon. It has to be a PNG file or a PDF file or a GIF file. Don't send a JPG. Occasionally they work, but Amazon are starting to say everywhere now that they don't accept JPGs. So if it's your business documents, it's probably going to be a PDF anyway. So send them a PDF or take a picture of it with your camera, and you can go online and get it changed to a PNG file if you haven't got Photoshop or I think Paint, the free. I'm not even sure if Paint still exists, but there's free software out there that'll enable you to change the format. So going back, passport or driver's license or national identity card. In other words, a photo ID. The name must match the info you used in Seller Central. It's absolutely critical. And if it has an address, for instance, the driver's license, and something I've actually learned, which I never knew before, some countries' passports have your address in them too, which I'd never seen before. And also a national identity card, if that's got your address, that address must match what you put in Seller Central. This is the most common error that's happening. It's literally Amazon see it doesn't match, it will automatically refuse the documentation. For your bank statement or credit card statement, you need to show transactions. A letter from your bank's not acceptable. It needs to be a normally formatted statement that shows transactions. In other words, it shows payments going out and payments going in. Again, both of these, whichever one you use, need to have your name and address on them, showing exactly the same information that is in Seller Central. Also, for both of these things, if it's a bank statement, it must be a bank statement for the bank you use, the bank account you use for your deposit method. If you use a credit card, it needs to be the credit card statement of the credit card you used for your payment method. Those two things are really important. And also, they must show the bank or credit card information, in other words, the name. So, for instance, if it was Bank of America, it needs to have the Bank of America at the top, preferably with the logo, and have the contact information for the bank. Every regular statement has these things on it. Sometimes Amazon will let it pass if it doesn't have everything, but the best plan of action is to make sure your documentation is exactly what they want. Because if you get it right first time, you get accepted first time, and you don't have any more issues. If you don't get it right, then things become more complicated. Then you'll probably have to private message me and I'll help you, because you have to go backwards and forwards with emails to specific email addresses to get out of that situation. And on that point, if I am helping you via private message, then please be patient. I'm currently helping, I don't know, it's something like 70 or 80 members. So if you are in this situation, it's a good thing because it shows you're not alone. But on the other hand, it means I can't, answer your questions in an hour or 2 hours or whatever it is. Right now, because I've been traveling, it's about a day it's taking me. I'm going to be traveling again the next few days, but I'll try and get on there as much as I can and answer you as quick as I can. Once this coming weekend's over, it will be easier for me. I will be able to answer more of your PMs, so it will be quicker. But please be patient. Do not, because I haven't replied for 24 hours or whatever it is, don't start panicking and jump into a decision to go and submit them yourself or to take someone else's advice you've seen on a forum or somewhere else. It's really, really important. I will not quit helping you. I will keep helping you as long as it takes to get your account set up. I'm not going anywhere. And to be quite honest, I've probably got, and it's not just blowing my own trumpet, I do have more experience of doing this than probably anyone else on the planet, because I've been doing this for 3 years now. God knows, probably 1,000 or more people I've helped get their account approved, because it's just the way Amazon are. And yes, they're a pain in the neck. Don't get down on Amazon because of this, okay? It's just the way they do things. A lot of it is legal reasons. A lot of it is because they have to basically follow guidelines from the American government and all this kind of thing. And I'm not going to go into all the boring stuff, but just stick with it. Stick with me. I will get to you as soon as I possibly can. But if it takes a bit longer, then, like, as I said, just be as patient as possible. Don't start like, don't go into the community and start saying, oh, Rich hasn't answered me for 24 hours. Can someone else help me? Okay, I will get to you. Don't be panicked if you've got a message saying you have 7 days to get this done, or 30 days to get this done, or whatever it is. The newest one they're sending, I think, is they send one out saying, if you don't sort this out in 7 days, we're going to deactivate your account. Okay, don't worry about those kind of messages. They're just there to hurry you up. But it's really important that you get everything right. So don't panic and be patient. So that's Seller Central for this week. I just want to talk very briefly also about product selection, because again, we've got some new people that are just getting started and are looking for their products. If you watch the week 1 and 2 calls especially, you'll know that we talk a lot about product selection and how time consuming it is, and that you have to have patience, and it's just the way it is. Yes, it's time consuming. It's probably the most important thing you're going to do in your business, especially in the first year, is finding your first product and getting your first product up. So take your time. Don't feel rushed. If you've got questions, ask in the community. All the mentors have chosen multiple products, during their businesses, and they're familiar, inside out with the training, and especially with helping people with the training. So there's no one better to ask. So go into the community if you're stuck on something, and ask your question. We do get a lot of people saying, oh, can someone, check my product to make sure it matches and everything. We can't really do that, but what you can do is you can like, if you've got your product list and you've chosen your best 3, for instance, put them into a community post. Just remove the name of the product and just show the BSR, the reviews, the price, and you can show monthly revenue if you want. Because then, like, no one else is, trust me, everything switches around so quick, no one's going to be able to find your product and go, oh, look, they're looking at that one. So you can do that if you wish. But again, just be patient. Everything in this business is about patience. One of the first sort of phrases we coined, well, we didn't coin it, we started using it, is, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're going to build a business that can last you for the rest of your life if you wanted to, or that you can build up for a year or 2 years and then sell for a lot of money. So it's not something you're going to jump into in a few days, boom, 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 I've got my product, oh, let's get it launched, blah, blah, blah. Take your time and get it right. That is the exact reason that we drip out the content the way we do. It's so important because it keeps you on track. It means that if you've finished module 1, you've selected your best 3 opportunities, then you can move on to module 2 if you wish. If not, just keep moving through module 1. Don't get hung up. And as a special extra that Mike and myself have agreed to do, we're going to do another call, even though this is, supposedly the last call. It's the week 8 call. It definitely isn't. We talked a lot about that last week. But next week on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central, so exactly the same time as our normal calls, we're going to do a special call. And it's just going to be for module 1 and module 2. So if you've started recently, or you started 6 months ago but couldn't get started straight away, something came up, you had to delay things, and you're in the process of finding your product and finding your supplier, we're going to do a specific call just for you guys, catered just to that topic. We're not going to be talking about anything else. So nothing from module 3 onwards. So if you've already got your product and supplier, ordered your inventory, whatever, you can go on the call by all means. Like, we can't stop you, but it's not going to be of any use to you. It's specifically for people that are still choosing their product or are still looking for their supplier, and haven't placed their inventory order yet. So that's an extra call. We're doing that specifically for you all because we do realize the product selection, it's quite difficult. The last thing I've got to call out, or the last thing I've got to say, not call out, is I want every single one of you to do me a little favor, and it requires you typing a comment. And I want you to type into the comment box, if you want, like I'm not forcing you, happy birthday, Elaine. Because our mentor Elaine was, our mentor Elaine's birthday was yesterday, the 12th. That's one of the reasons she went away, I think. At least I assume that was the reason. And so I want you to wish her a super happy birthday. Even though it's the day after her birthday, she's still in the community, still here on this call with you all, answering questions. And she's only just got back from Marrakesh. So huge shout out for her. We love her to death, and I'm sure you all love her too. So happy birthday, Elaine. And I'll hand it back to you, Mike.
All right, sorry about that. I was over the looks like questions got disabled for a second, so I made sure they are enabled again. So if you had any difficulty wishing Elaine a happy birthday, you should be able to do it now. Rich, can you confirm for me that questions are enabled while you're over there? Okay, so good deal. Now they're all coming through. Okay, so thanks, Rich. By the way, Rich, also want to mention to you that as you were talking about Seller Central setup, it seems we had a flurry, a virtual plethora and cornucopia of questions come through, very detailed Seller Central questions. So if you don't mind checking those out, and just let people know if you want to have them post in the community those questions, because sometimes very detailed questions might not be appropriate to answer on this call for like very specific things. So let them know if you want them to post in the community, PM you, or try to cover them on this call. So I'll get back to my stuff while you take a look at that. So now Rich was talking about a couple of topics such as, getting your account set up and product selection and next week's bonus call. I want to talk again about the launch, blitz, and rank method. And the reason is because we keep updating. Like we've updated it in the past couple of weeks, a couple of times, because we're constantly monitoring what's going on in the Amazon ecospace. And we've seen some things happen where people have launched these really large coupons and the products have sold out immediately because their post went viral, which that can be great. If you're trying to launch a product and get rankings all in a very short amount of time. However, if it sells out of all your products, we don't want that to happen. So we've updated the training to let everyone know how to protect your inventory. So again, this is all in ASMX. It is in Module 6 under Launch, Blitz, and Rank. Be sure to check out the Launch, Blitz, and Rank Part 1, setting everything up, Part 2, setting everything up, and then Part 3, actually doing the launch. We've updated those to include this. Basically, though, what we're showing you how to do is to make sure that you have your max number that can be ordered at any point in time set to 2, and you can set that to 1. If you only want someone who's getting your coupon to buy 1 item, so they don't buy 10 of them, go ahead and set it to 1 if you want to. We set it to 2. That's what I found works best, but feel free to set it to 1 if you want to. Also, we're now suggesting using a 50% off coupon instead of a 75% off coupon. It looks to me like there are several Facebook groups out there that are specifically searching every day on Amazon for coupons that are 75% or higher and trying to share those so they can make those deals go viral. At first, I was shocked. At first, I was a little appalled by that. But in reality, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just going out there and trying to find the best deals on Amazon. And so what we want to do is just make sure we protect ourselves and don't create discounts quite that big. A 50% off discount should still give you really good traction on your launch, blitz, and rank. If for some reason 50% doesn't do it, feel to increase it after a couple of days to 60%, maybe 65%. And that'll start getting some more traction. And also the third thing, and this is all in the training again, is how to reserve a large portion of your inventory so no one can buy it no matter what. There's something inside of Amazon called creating a fulfillment order. And I actually walk you through how to do that. Normally, you create these to send a product to a customer. So for example, let's say down the road, you're selling lots of products and a customer gets a defective product and they contact you. And they're like, what do we do with this? If you want to just send them a replacement, you create a fulfillment order inside of your Seller Central account and send them that product. That's how you do that. Another feature that Amazon added on a few years back was using the exact same method, but reserving a large amount of inventory. So if you have 300 units of inventory that you've purchased for your launch, and after 1 or 2 days of your launch, you've already sold 80 or 90, well, we're going to show you how to protect those other 200 units so no one can buy them, even if your launch goes viral. So I just want to make sure that everyone, if you've been selling for a while, you're getting ready to launch already, if you're relaunching a product, or if you're brand new and you won't be launching for a while, make sure that if you've watched Module 6, you rewatch the parts of it, the updates on it, so you protect yourself as much as possible. That was the main thing I want to talk about. Now, I'm going to follow up on that just real quick, though. We've seen some amazing results when that happens. One of the members who posted about it, we've only had, don't get me wrong, this is not something that's happened to tons of people. So far, we've seen 3 sellers out of hundreds that it's happened to. But one of the sellers actually got the best seller badge, was ranking on page 1, and they still had some inventory left over as well. So they were actually selling. So it's not a horrible thing if it happens, but you don't want to run out of all of your inventory. That's pretty important that you want to make sure that happens. It can still give you some great results as long as you have some inventory, say, left over, so you can take advantage of those badges and that increased ranking. Now, I think what we want to do is get to the Q&A section. And while Rich is waiting to come back on, I have one question that I'm going to answer while we're waiting for him, because I saw it posted here. This is from Victor Shashuk. He asked the question, how do we protect our brand from hijacking when other buyers buy our inventory and then resell it on our listing? And a follow-up, how do we make sure that our China suppliers don't sell our brands themselves and do not sell it to other Amazon sellers? So first off, you may hear this, you might not have heard it. I hate the term hijacking. It's someone came up with this term literally 5 years ago. It never existed before Amazing Selling Machine. And someone came up with this, and they saw someone else, and at the time, it was Amazon reselling a used product that got returned, and they couldn't believe that someone else was selling their product. Well, Amazon can do this. They'll pay you for your product, and then a lot of times they have these warehouse deals that are selling your used products. Totally fine, no problem at all, but people started calling this hijacking, where someone is hijacking your listing. Well, that listing really isn't ours. I mean, it's Amazon's listing. That's one way to think of it. We think of it as ours, but Amazon owns Amazon.com. They own everything on Amazon.com. So the listing really isn't yours. So the term hijacking doesn't totally make sense. And it sounds really, really scary. Now, another thing that can happen, though, in addition to Amazon reselling it, is it is possible and totally legal and fine if, let's say that you sell a whole bunch of products at like 75, 90% off. If a few of your customers decide they want to resell a few of those, they didn't like it, they just want to sell it, they can do that. That's totally fine on Amazon. And people get freaked out about it. Now, the real issue isn't someone taking one of the products they bought from you and reselling it. The real issue is counterfeit products, where some unscrupulous suppliers, usually, one of the big manufacturing countries like China or maybe Taiwan or another company that's manufacturing a lot of products over there, they will manufacture a counterfeit of your product that's in plain white packaging. It's not your product at all. And they try to take advantage of all your awesome hard work getting a great listing, and they try to sell it under your listing, helping people will think that it's the same product. It's not. That's the real issue. And when that happens, all you need to do is send them a cease and desist message. In the community, if you do a search for hijacking, we have examples in there for this. New sellers, don't worry about this. I'm kind of just answering Victor's concern right now. This isn't something you need to be terribly concerned about, because we tell you how to take care of those. There's a process you need to go through. You need to do a test purchase of their product, take a picture, send it to Amazon, verify that it's not an authentic product, and then very quickly Amazon will remove it. But when that's happening for those couple of days, it feels like the world's crashing down on you. It's not. It's not. Amazon has gotten so much better at cutting off these counterfeit sellers than they ever used to in the past. Right now is the best time it's ever been on Amazon. If you've ever been concerned about counterfeiters in the past, they do a really good job of it. And if you ever see that happening, Amazon is much quicker to take care of them now. And later on down the road, when you get brand registry, it's going to be even easier for you to take care of that. So one, don't really worry about it too much. If someone else who bought one of your products is reselling it, that's totally fine. That's one of the rights to do it. And here's the way I look at it. A lot of the rankings on Amazon have to do with your sales volume. So if you sell 50 products all within a couple of days, that helps you in the rankings. And get this, this is what happens. This is normal. If you sell 50 products, you get the benefit of selling 50 products. And then if 2 of those customers decide to resell it and they sell those products, you actually get the benefit of 52 sales, because search ranking and BSR all has to do with the ASIN, not how many you're selling as a seller, how many that ASIN is selling. So if someone, one of your customers does resell it, you've actually got credit for 2 sales out of 1 product. That's one of the benefits of it that people forget about. And another thing is, if you actually see someone else selling your product under, they have 1 unit in their inventory, that's a sure sign that it's a seller who's just reselling a product that they no longer want. I go out there and buy them. Why not? You're allowed to buy, keep in mind, you're allowed to buy your product if and only if it's being sold by another seller. You can never buy the product from yourself. But if someone else is selling it and you're worried about it, go buy it from them. Get the benefit of the sale. As a matter of fact, search for your product, find it, and then buy it. Get the benefit of a sale plus finding your own product from another seller, doing a search for your hardest keyword. That's like one of the easiest things you can do if you want to. So don't really worry about hijacking, especially if you're starting out. Even later on, don't worry about it. In the community post, we'll tell you exactly what to do when it happens. But the main issue is counterfeiting. And again, Amazon's much better, and there are very simple steps you can take when it happens to get it taken care of. Okay, so that was my not so short answer to only one question. Rich, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
So we seem to be having some issues with comments again. I'm just checking here. Can you keep an eye on it? If they stop coming through again, uncheck the box for enable questions and leave it, and live update, and then leave it for about 30 seconds and enable it again, Mike.
Gotcha. Okay, they're coming through right now, though. I see them.
Now it looks like, yeah. Okie doke, what am I doing? All right, so
Q&A.
Right, so these are the questions that were posted in the community, and I'll try and whiz through them as quickly as possible while getting them right, obviously. Victor Shawchuk, something like that. Anyway, you know who you are, I'm sure, because I'm sure I've probably said your name wrong on multiple calls. What do you think about Amazon Basics products? Would you ever pick it as your primary product, or would not compete with Amazon? So Amazon Basics, if one of the competing products is an Amazon Basics, it's okay as long as they still match all the criteria. But if your Amazon Basics is actually the primary product, again, as long as it matches all the criteria, it's fine. More often than not, Amazon Basics will be a cheap version of a product. It's not normally going to be as high quality. Pretty much as the name suggests, it's a basic product. So if you're in a situation where you found a product and either the primary or the competing products are an Amazon Basics, then just take a closer look and look at the other products too. Make sure that they're not a much lower price, and just make sure everything looks right. If everything looks right, then it's not a huge issue that it's Amazon Basics. On a similar note, if you see a product that says sold and shipped by Amazon, again, it's fine. It just means that it's probably a seller who's part of the mine just went blank. Vendor program. There you go. I got in just before Mike shouted out. Again, it's not something you need to worry about. The criteria basically covers all these eventualities. So as long as your product matches all the criteria, none of that matters. For the most part, when you think you're competing with Amazon, you're not, especially when it's sold and shipped by. You're just competing with another seller that's working with Amazon. And that doesn't mean they're doing a better job. That doesn't mean they'll have a better listing. It doesn't mean they'll do a better job of Amazon ads. It doesn't mean they'll do a better job of keyword research, because they're probably not an ASM member. Although we've got thousands and thousands of members, it's still a tiny drop in the ocean compared to all the sellers out there. So that was a Mike McClary answer. Very long-winded way of saying it's fine. News songs. Mike, do you how come I get all the difficult usernames? When does Seller Central start charging for an account? If you're using a professional account, they will charge you immediately. I have covered this multiple times before as well regarding the reason we recommend a professional account. Yes, you will get charged straight away, the $40 or whatever, but if you get approved with a professional account, you've got nothing else to worry about. If you go with an individual account where you don't pay until you upgrade or you start selling products, and by the way, if you do start with an individual account, make sure you upgrade to professional before you order your inventory. It's very important. But yes, it's going to save you a couple of months at $40. But if you start with an individual account, when you upgrade to professional, the odds are you're going to get a product review. You're going to get a seller account review. They're going to go through they're going to ask you for documentation, and that applies even if you've done it before. And again, it's sticky. You know, if you get the wrong person, they'll say no, it's not it's not the right documentation, and send it back to you. And then you're going to be in the whole world of going backwards and forwards, and you could be like ready to order your inventory. So we recommend you start with a professional account. If you do that, when you actually come to start selling your product, if you contact Seller Central and say, you know, for the last 3 months my product wasn't live, but I've been paying professional account, you know, can I get a refund or something like that? You know, sometimes they will say yes, and they'll refund you the money anyway. Now, it's not always, but sometimes that works. But don't ask them for a refund until your product's on its way or you've ordered your inventory, so that they can see that you've got a product listing and everything, because they could automatically downgrade you to an individual account, and then you'll have to upgrade it again. So yeah, they'll start charging you straight away if it's a professional account. Yeah. Oh, hang on. I'll have a guess at this one, but I've probably got this username. Like, I could say it about 7 different ways, but I'm going to go for Zena Bababel 80. Yeah, you can message me and tell me I totally ruined your name. I do apologize. Do you think it is a good idea to sign up in another Amazon website? In other words, another entity. I have trouble getting my Seller Central account open at Amazon. I mean, for example, in Germany. Rich is following up with me. Yes, I am. But I am really frustrated, and I completely understand that. Hopefully what I just said at the beginning of the call will help you. The answer is don't do it. Don't do it yet. Now, strictly speaking, Amazon don't connect between the two. So in other words, if you went and opened an account in the UK and you're waiting on your US one, in theory, it shouldn't make any difference. But we're actually starting to see now that there could be some collaboration going on. So don't do it. I will work with you. I will get you there. We will get you approved. And yes, I know it's driving you crazy trying to get approved, but just hang in there. You know, if for whatever reason we can't get you approved in Amazon in the US, then at that point, I will say to you, okay, look, this is just getting ridiculous. We can't get you approved here. Open an account in the UK. But don't do that until absolutely necessary. And most importantly, don't do that until I've told you to do that. You know, we'll be catching up. You've mentioned your supplier here. Just tell your supplier that you're just waiting to get your Seller Central account approved. They're not going to go crazy. They're not going to like go, okay, we're not doing a deal with you. Never heard of that happening. So don't worry about it. Just be patient. Don't order your inventory until your account's approved, and I will keep working with you trying to get it done. Nick Witz. Something like that. Anyway, I'm doing product research. I found some products that have I'm just going to read it the way I see it. I found products that are within the BSR ranges for primary and competing products. They meet all the ISM criteria, but only the top few products are profitable. And by profitable, it means 50,000 to 100,000. Yeah, that's profitable. And the rest are lower, 1,000 to 15,000. 15,000 is not like terrible. But regardless of that, I think you're probably new to this maybe, but as long as your product matches all the criteria, it's fine. Don't worry about it. If they match all the criteria, there will be enough revenue, there will be enough sales, and there'll be low enough competition so that you can succeed without having to break the bank with advertising or giving away too many products. So don't worry about it. That's exactly what the ASM criteria is there for. Okay, it's there to guide you. So don't worry about it. From what you're saying here, that's fine. You don't have anything to worry about. Matthew Turvey. Could I include either of these statements on my product insert, or are they against Amazon's TOS regarding reviews? Mike may well come back and disagree with me here. I have got no idea. But, so here's the first statement he says. Can he use this? All customers who post a review will receive a free ebook. Okay, that's one statement, because I'm going to deal with these all at the same time. And another one, the other one is, for every product review we donate £1. So he's always selling in the UK to charity. Here's the thing. Amazon are just so crazy about incentivizing reviews right now. It takes such a tiny thing to set them off. There's another question about reviews later that I think Mike's going to answer, and you just have to be so careful. And actually, you know, you're saying all customers opposed to review will receive a free ebook. That's incentivizing review. Even though, strictly speaking, you know, I understand what you're saying is that your wording is, it doesn't imply that you're actually saying you're paying them for review. But in Amazon's eyes, they're going to look at that and go, you're incentivizing it, because you're telling them if they post a review, they get something. That is absolutely black and white incentivizing a review. So that one is a definite no-no. For the other one, it's a gray area. Because you're not offering something to them. However, it's still something. I'm not sure. Like, I'm going to actually ask Mike to chip in on this one. For me personally, I wouldn't use it. So I would not use, for every product review we receive, we donate £1 to charity.
Yeah, I agree. You don't want to do anything to incentivize a review. Even though they might not getting something out of it, you're still incentivizing them by making them feel good about it. So I would just stay away from it. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm glad we're on the same page. Must make a note. Rich and Mike on the same page.
December 13th, 2:38 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Perfect. I'm glad you noted that down. I think that's the second one in the book. Yeah, so don't use those. You've got to be so careful. Like, personally, I don't ask for reviews or even mention reviews on inserts. I just want to get them onto my list. There's so many different ways of doing it, but mentioning like the way, even though I get exactly what you're saying, to me, what you've got to think of is, if some really, I'm trying to think of the right word, job's worth, that's something we use in England. I can't remember where you're from actually, Matthew, but it's someone who's so picky about things. That's Amazon. Okay, they will take everything to the nth degree when it comes to reviews. So literally having the word review somewhere, you know, it can lead to issues. But both of those are incentivizing it, even though, you know, you could argue against it. So both Mike and myself are saying don't do it. Mo Salah, is it a good idea to call the Seller Central support to speed up the verification process? So you can, but what I'm going to say to you, Mo, is that you are actually PMing me. So if this is for everyone on this call or watching the replay, if I'm helping you via private message, do not do anything without checking with me first. Don't call seller support. Don't send your documents in again. Don't send them an email. Okay, it's really, I know it's really difficult, and I know, Mo, it's driving you crazy because you're so far along with everything else. And the issue is that once you send something, like, you don't want multiple things happening at once. So in other words, you might send something in, and then, you know, I get back to you and say, okay, here's an email you should send. And it's totally different than when you send. And then it's like, well, you can't send it because you've already got one going. If you have 2 or 3 different emails on the go at the same time with seller performance, I virtually guarantee you they're going to shut you down. And you're going to have to start the whole process again. So don't call them. If you're communicating with me via private message, don't call them, don't email them, don't do anything regarding your Seller Central account without checking with me first, please. AC Doocy, is it true that Amazon no longer accept a utility bill for verification purposes to get a Seller Central account? No, that's simply not true. I've seen a couple of rumors here and there, and it's total nonsense. Yes, someone might have got in touch with one person at Seller Support who said that, but it's total nonsense. If you look at virtually any place inside Seller Central regarding documentation and verification and what they ask you for, every single time they show you utility bill. They tell you utility bill, okay? It's total nonsense. The only thing I can think of is maybe that they would ask for a bank statement, because they are two different things, or a credit card statement. They're two different things. If they ask you for a bank statement or a credit card statement, then that's what you give them. You don't give them a utility bill. And vice versa. If they ask you for your utility bill, that's what you want. That's what you need to send them. Now, having said that, sometimes we can get around that if you don't have a utility bill. But yeah, it's total nonsense. I should have just said total nonsense and left it at that. Okay, I'm going to go for May L. Click. If we navigate directly to our product page on Amazon from our Seller Central account, sales summary page, using the link view on Amazon, will that be considered a click within our Amazon sponsored ad campaign? So you say a bunch of other things here. I'll stop you right there. The only way that you get charged, in other words, you get charged for a click, in other words, you get a click, is if they click on the ad. So, you know, on a search page, you have the sponsored product ads at the top, and then some in the middle and some at the bottom, all the different places. If it's your ad and someone clicks on that, that is a click, you will get charged. Nothing else you do will get you a click. So you search it, if you put in your product URL into the search and go that way, it won't register as a click. If you click on your search page result, not your ad, it's not a click. If you click on your inside your inventory to go to the page, it's not a click. It's only if someone clicks on your ad. So hopefully that explains that one. Shannon Feetham. Once we have our products up and running, how soon would you recommend before we can start trying to get into selling gated category items? Well, first of all, like, I wouldn't recommend you start even looking for your second product till your product's been up and selling for 2-3 months or more, and it's getting regular sales, because you don't want to go down the route where you haven't got your product established and then add another one, because basically you're doubling the work. Get your first product up and running, selling on a regular basis, so that you can virtually predict, you know, what sales you're getting and all that kind of thing, and that you're happy with it before you actually start selling the second product. Now, there's nothing to stop you looking for the second product now, but as far as if it's in a gated category, you're going to want to probably, it depends how many sales you're making. If you're making a lot of sales, then maybe 4 months. If you're making normal, like not huge amounts of sales, then 6 months or more. So do take your time, make sure because the most important thing that Amazon will look at, it's not even necessarily that you made a lot of sales. You will need a lot of sales for this one thing they look for, and that is they look at seller feedback and they look at reviews. If you've made, you know, if you've only made 20 sales, then you're not going to have a lot of seller feedback, and you're not going to have a lot of reviews. You want a lot of seller feedback at a high rating, sort of, you know, 4.8 and upwards. That's seller feedback, not reviews. Because that's what they, you know, that's what is going to encourage them. If you're doing a really good job of looking after your account, and especially in their eyes, looking after their customers, in other words, you're getting good feedback, then it'll be much easier to get approved, because that's what they're going to look at more than anything else. So don't rush into it. Definitely make sure your product's up and running and selling on a regular basis before you even look at selling your second product anyway. But you're probably going to, I mean, there's a ballpark, probably 6 months, unless you're making huge amounts of sales straight away. Okay, so we've got another question about Seller Central. And by the way, if you ask any questions on Seller Central in the background, I told the mentors to get you to send me a private message. Trying to answer it here is not going to be very helpful, because I need, you know, I'm going to answer you and then you're going to need to come back to me. And we've only got, you know, a limited amount of time here. And once the call's over, it's gone. It's disappeared. So I do appreciate you want to help. Send me a private message inside the community. And I'm just looking at this. Okay, so this is a little bit different. Here is my situation. I opened a Seller Central account on 13/11, so 13th of November. Got a welcome message. Later that day, got another email, review, utility bill. On the 14th, I sent everything they requested, still waiting. Do I have to take action or just wait? So 14th of November, so that's a month since you sent that. Send me a private message. explain what's happened so far, and I'll get you to send me the document you sent them. A month is, right now they're taking at least 5 to 10 working days to respond, but a month, that seems a bit long. But on the other hand, they might just have gone, yeah, that's okay, you've passed the review, and not sent you an email. But I can help you figure that out if you send me a private message. Grace Hasbun, I think. If there is a good selling product that seems generic, okay, if there's a good selling product that seems generic in style, color, etc., that has no competitors, not the same style or size, is it possible that the product is patented, expressed through lack of competition, even though there is a manufacturer in Alibaba for that product? Or are Amazon patented products explicitly described as patented and or uncommon designs? So generally speaking, if you find a primary product that matches all the criteria and is doing really well, and when you run the search for the competing products and there's no competing products, the vast majority of the time it is because they have a patent. Go and do a patent search for one thing, and have a closer look. Just because a product sells on Alibaba does not mean it hasn't got a patent. I'm just putting that out there, okay? You need to make sure. Here's the thing. The most important thing here is, if you actually look at what you're saying, it's not a viable product anyway. You know, if your primary product hasn't got any competing products, then it's not a viable product because there's not enough competition. There's not enough demand. So, which is actually because of the competition. But anyway, so put that on your back burner, you know, leave it in your hot opportunity list, but it sounds like something I would stay away from for now. Keep a close eye on it. It could be a new fad or something like that, a new product, I'm not sure. But you said it's generic. If it's got no competing products, then it's either a patent or, most importantly, it's not a viable product by using the ASM criteria. AC Ducey, can you please tell us again the date, city, time, and place for the ASM convention to be held in June next year in the USA? Well, I've already told you where it is because I'm right here. In fact, if I went up to the balcony and turned the computer around, you could actually see it. So it's at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And I did make a note somewhere. Uh-oh. Aha! It's June 21st to the 23rd. And as I said, it's in Las Vegas. And I really hope you can make it. I know you're a long way away, AC Ducey. So I do hope you make it. It would be awesome to meet you after getting to know you both by a private message regarding your Sell Essential account and also, obviously, with all your amazing help in the community. So, yeah, I think that I did the dates, I did the city, time, and the, yeah, I think I got it all. AC Ducey again. Whoa, scroll too quick. Will we be getting advance notice of interviews with successful members that will be added to the supplementary lessons and calls so that we can watch them live? How often can we expect to see these interviews taking place? So we've got some that we've already got. We will be uploading those. I will hold my hand up and say, my bad. I should have been, I actually made a mental note to myself last week to upload a couple more, and I totally forgot. I dropped the ball. So I will make a note. I'll make Mike remind me to upload a couple more interviews for you. As for getting people on the calls, I'm not sure about that. Although, on next week's call, the product selection, I'm now going to make you all desperately want to go and watch it, even though it's only about product selection. Some of those amazing mentors that have been helping you for the last 8 weeks in the background on these calls are going to be appearing live. So we're actually going to have them on the call, so you can actually see what they look like. Although you've probably seen that from the photos in the community, but you can actually see and hear them live. That's if we can persuade them all to come on. I'm pretty sure they'll all come on. Hey, Steve. But anyway, so yes, we will be uploading more interviews. Right, so I've never quite figured this out, whether it's Escarami or, yeah, I think it's Escarami. Anyway, I have heard to sell other, oh, I hate it. You know what? Never start a question for the call saying, I have heard or I have seen. Just don't do it. But I have heard to sell other products on your website is a drop shipping to drive traffic to your website when you are new. What is your suggestion? Yeah, don't bother. Here's the thing. Your website It becomes more important later on when you've got like several products and you're building your brand, and when you actually start selling your own products on your website. Right now, it's the most important thing about your website being there is you're showing you're a real company, you're showing your brand, you're talking about your products, you're talking about aspects of the niche that your products are in, all that kind of stuff. Don't panic too much about sending traffic to that website right now. You will naturally get traffic, because I promise you, Amazon buyers, we discovered this, I'm trying to think, we didn't really notice until I think it was ASM 2 or 3. All of a sudden, like, we started looking at the analytics for our website, and we're getting a ton of traffic, and all of it was brand keyword search in Google. So what's happening is people on Amazon go to Amazon, and they're going to buy your product, but they just want to check your brand out, and they just type your brand name into Google, and that's how they find your website, and that's how they find your Facebook page, and that is why the entire module, is it 4? I can't remember now whether it's 4 or 5, but the module about building your brand assets is so important. People do check, especially if your product's more expensive, especially if you've got a lot of competitors, because they might look at the product and look at the same product from 3 different people and go, I'm just going to go and check out their brand. And if they open the brand, they search for the brand in Google, there's no website, no Facebook page, they're going to think, well, that's not really a company. But as far as actually intentionally sending traffic there, and especially going through the hassle of using drop shipping, no, it's not worth, the ROI on that is tiny. Like drop shipping other products, it's just not, there's no point to it. Concentrate all your time and effort on driving your own, driving your traffic to your Amazon listing and making money, and building your products, God, I can't think of the word. I need more sleep or more coffee, I'm not sure which it is. Basically establishing your product, there you go, by getting more sales for your product on Amazon. You know, later on, you can actually put links and stuff on your website to sell your products on Amazon. But as far as driving traffic to your website, the ROI is tiny, and especially going through drop shipping is an absolute nightmare, which is why we don't recommend it. We only talk about private labeling. Next one's from Tuan Huang. Okay, so as a part of this, I'm not allowed to read it out because he's told me not to read it out. Okay, so he's getting approved in a gated category. I filled out the request form, 1 message confirmation. So basically he got told he was approved and to wait 24 hours, but he went back in after 24 hours and it still says it's locked. He's messaged them a few times. Okay, so basically this member has applied for a gated category. He doesn't want to tell you which one it is, which is fine. He went through all the steps, got approved. They told him to wait 24 hours and he'd be able to list his product. But it's still, when he tried to make the listing, it's still locked. So now he's worried that he's not going to be able to order his inventory, and is there any way of speeding it up? I would say the expert on this is actually in the background, Tracy. But so it's just going to be a case of getting someone somewhere to flick a switch. If they've definitely approved you for that category, then there's, it's just a case of getting in touch with them. I know you've done that. If you don't hear anything in the next 48 hours, send me a private message. And I'll get together with Tracy and see if she's got any ideas about, like, send me the information, exactly what you've done, and exactly what information you got from them. And I'll speak to Tracy and we'll work on it and see if there's another way of like getting this approved. But honestly, I think it's probably just going to be a case of at some point, they will unlock it if they've actually physically told you that you've been approved. This one's from Ina. Okay, so this, in my category, all suppliers who have high-end, all sellers who have high-end packaging, put it on their main image and call it out in their title. This product with gift box. Is it within Amazon's TOS to put the packaging on the first image in that case? This is another gray area. We don't recommend it. You will see a lot of people doing that. I think it's something that Amazon aren't really going to like get really mad at you for. Like packaging is kind of part of it. I imagine at this time of year, a lot of people are calling it out because, you know, because it's a gifting season. So they're calling out their packaging and saying, you know, you can give this to someone. Just look at the awesome packaging. They'll be really impressed. Me personally, I wouldn't. If you want, like, if you're saying everybody, so basically, if you're a primary product and the 2, 3, 4, 5 competing products are all doing that, the top ones, then I guess you can try doing it. If you do it though, make sure your second image is the normal product only on the background. And one word of warning, don't call it out on the image, no text on the image. If you've just got your packaging next to it, then okay. As I say, it's a gray area. They're not going to shut you down for it. What'll probably happen if they see it or if someone reports it to them, but that's unlikely, seeing as, like you're saying, most of the other people are doing it, they will just take away that image. So that's why you want the normal white background image as the second image, because then that will replace it. If you don't have the product on a white background as a second image, Amazon could well take all your images down and replace them with their own. And you don't want that to happen because they just put really, really crappy images up there. And then you have to contact them and get them changed. So it is a gray area. As I say, me personally, I don't put my packaging on there. But if everyone else that's selling your product is doing that, then like give it a shot. I don't, like I say, I had never heard of anyone getting into serious trouble just for having packaging on their image. I saw the word patent. Mabuba. My question is about patent search, which I am so confused. After ordering samples, I just noticed that in the primary product listing, it says patent pending. So the seller of the primary product is saying he's got a patent pending. I did a search on USPTO and Google, it shows 0 patents. I also searched on the website of the product itself, and I did not find the word patent. I assume you mean your competitor's website. However, I did find it on the product part replacement, which says patent pending. So you also go and say, also, there's lots of competitors selling the exact product on Amazon. I know this is going to sound terrible, but that really is irrelevant. Because other people are selling it doesn't mean that you can. However, an Alibaba shows it 2018 Amazon hot product. How can this product be patented? Because it can. But it sounds like I'm not an expert. And what I do know is that when you get into this kind of situation, you need to get a hold of a patent attorney, a trademark attorney, something like that, and get them to do the search for you. They're going to charge you for it. It's not very expensive, but I'd only recommend doing that if this is definitely like the best product you've got. So I'm assuming you've gone through the training, you've got samples of 3 different products, or at least 2 different products. If it's absolutely the one you want to go for and it like kills the other 2, it's way better than the other 2, then it's worth getting hold of a patent attorney. I think we might be able to help you with that. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Send me a private message. I might be able to help you with a patent attorney. But as I said, only do this if it's absolutely like your #1 product, because they are going to charge you for doing it. But it will be an attorney and like a lawyer who's going to say to you yes or no. Because they will do they know how to do the search. And if it is a case that it's not the actual product, it's the replacement or replacement part, it still could be an issue, but they'll be able to tell you exactly what that issue is. So that's my advice. My advice is to look at your other products and see if you'd be just as happy going with one of those and put this on the back burner. If it's absolutely the one you want to go for, then get a hold of a patent attorney and get them to run the search for you. Mike, I'm done. Oh, hang on. I'll actually do those 2 that I saw live. I know there's probably some more now, but I actually copy and pasted these into a text document so I could read them without wearing magnifying glasses. From Lisa Childers, could you discuss the difference between a primary product's BSR in the top level category and the BSRs it may have for secondary categories? I assume you mean subcategories, and how these interact with each other and how the different level impact the viability of the product. So if you mean subcategories, totally irrelevant. The only BSR we're interested in is the top level category. And that's because, you know, that's what all the training is based on. That's what like all the numbers are based on, is the top level category. The subcategories, you know, you could be number one in a subcategory, but number 25,000 in a main category. Okay, that's probably exaggerating, but I mean, it could happen. Basically, totally ignore all the numbers you see for subcategories. They're irrelevant to you. The only category you need to worry, the only BSR you need to worry about is the BSR for the top level category, not the subcategories. Rich from Sanpoa, 1987. God, that makes me feel young. I mean, old. Oh my God, as you were speaking about Sell Essential account, I got an email from them saying, welcome to Amazon Sell Essential account, and the other emails too. Yay, I'm in. I was getting worried because it had been a week since I submitted my application. Awesome news. So happy for you. Get on and find your product now and your suppliers. I am done.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into the questions that I have too. This is from Main Fanta 89. Right now I'm doing everything as a sole proprietor, but eventually we'll be creating a limited company in Ireland. Could you please give me advice on who to get an EIN number from when I'm abroad, and also advise me if I'll need to get a new one when I create my company? First off, so if you're selling in the US, you just call the United States Internal Revenue Service. Just Google foreign EIN. I think in the last call, I actually gave the link out there. It's pretty simple. It's also in the community. Just do a search for EIN. We give you a link to go to in order to get your EIN. A lot of times you can do it online, but I think now they want you to call them. And that's to be honest, that's the easiest thing to do. So do the search in the community for EIN. It'll give you a number, or you can do a Google search, as a matter of fact. It'll give you a number to call. You talk to a person on the phone, and most sellers that we've seen have been able to get their EIN right there on the phone. So it's really simple to do. Now, since you'll be setting your account up as a sole proprietor, while Rich was talking, I was checking the background with Elaine, who did this herself. You will get one EIN as a sole proprietor. And then when you create a company and you update all of your credentials inside of Sell Essential, you will have another EIN. So your business will get another EIN as well, because really you're two completely separate entities. So each have your own identification number. So yeah, you'll need to update again. From Matthew Turvey, in Module 6, talking about Facebook ads for the Launch, Blitz, and Rank, Mike advises selecting link clicks for how you're going to get charged. However, I'm unable to select this option because it says I have to first spend £8, which is probably about $10, in this ad account. So I have no other option but to select to be charged for impressions. How will this affect my campaign budget? To be honest, I've seen Facebook, like when I've selected link clicks versus impressions, I don't see that much of a difference. You can see differences, and I've just gotten better results, slightly better results, when I'm paying for the max cost per link click. But in general, if you do pay for impressions, it almost works out the exact same thing. Like the cost you end up paying by the number of people that'll click on it based on impressions comes out the almost exact same thing. So one, don't worry about it. Start off with impressions. It's not going to cause any issues at all. Secondly, once you do spend $10, then go back and any future campaigns you create, then you can select the max cost per click. So yeah, don't worry about it. Keep going. It'll be fine. Back another one from Main Fanta 89. Would you recommend to use and pay for the early review program, or to try and ask a friend to buy my products and get review for them? Or is it better to do both options at the same time? Bingo. I would do both. So I would go for the early review program. We've seen great results. It can be a little slow getting reviews in because Amazon doesn't go out there and send your product to anyone. You still have to make sales. They just reach out to them on their own behalf and incentivize people to give you reviews. I know they tell us not to do that, and they do that, but hey, it's Amazon. Basically, I think they give people $1 I know it sounds kind of dumb. I think they give them like $1 credit in order just to go out there and write a review. But it seems to work. So it may be slow to get those 5 reviews, but I would definitely use the early reviewer program. And I would still ask some friends to give me reviews. Now, remember, read all the guidelines in the training. You want to make sure they're not family members. That is no longer allowed. If they are friends, make sure they're not using your computer, your home network when they do it. And keep in mind, although we don't usually see big problems with it, if for some reason Amazon thinks they're really closely tied to you, like they're a really close friend who's just giving you a good review for the sake of a good review because you guys are best buddies, then they may not allow it, or they may actually remove it later on. I know that sounds kind of like wishy-washy, but that's just how things are happening. So we can't like sugarcoat it. That may happen. I have no problem. Like I never have a problem asking people like my friends when I launch a new product, hey, would some of you guys mind buying our product? I'm launching at a lower price, and then give me an honest review. I don't tell them whether I want something positive or negative. I don't really ask people individually. I kind of like send a group message, ask them to do that. And I haven't had very many problems with that at all. But so most people don't, but just keep in mind, again, if you get a lot of reviews from like a group of friends, Amazon may put some limits on you. So again, use the reviewer program and feel free to ask a friend or two to buy the product and give you an honest product review. From Lisa H. I'm concerned about the possibility of a coupon malfunction. I saw an ASM member recently who lost her inventory because of a glitch in Amazon system. This is what we talked about earlier. And it went 600% over her coupon budget. I'm a little leery of using them. Do you have any advice, or have you heard any updates? So yes, advice, watch the upgraded LBR training. We completely cover this inside of there. But again, use a 50% off coupon instead of 75% off for now. Make sure that you have your max order quantity set to 2 or 1 if you want to. And 3, protect your inventory by placing a fulfillment order and reserving however much inventory you do not want to sell out of. That should completely take care of this issue. From T3M Green, after I created a post on Facebook thanking my friends for buying a product from me and then asking them if they could leave a review, my product reviews are now blocked. My friend says when they try to post it that we are unable to accept reviews for this product. This product has limitations on submitting reviews. There can be a number of reasons, including unusual reviewing activity. I think a bunch of my people who are friends tried all the reviews on the same day, and this triggered something and they blocked me. With your experience, is there a way to get this fixed? I'm still able to get seller feedback, however. So I think you're exactly right that a bunch of your friends went out there and tried creating a bunch of reviews all in a short period of time, and it just set off a flag. Now, most likely, what we think is happening is Amazon has an algorithm. It knows how many reviews products typically get, and it's a low percentage. It's like 2%, 3% of people buy actually give reviews. So if you suddenly sell 20 products and 10 people try to give a review, it can set off alarms. Just try to get 3 to 5 reviews starting off. So it doesn't help you. I'm going to try to here's what you should do right now. Totally forget about it for now. So I would just try to sell your product and keep going. Hopefully you do have a review or 2 now. I can't see them blocking it if you have no reviews. Hopefully that's not the case here. But the best thing to do is just keep on selling. And if reviews come in, they come in. If they don't, they don't. That'll make sure things go back to being natural. And then eventually that restriction should be lifted. I can't guarantee it, but what we've seen happen is that these are temporary restrictions based upon their idea of unusual review activity. And after an amount of time when they don't no longer see it, then people can leave reviews later on again. Another one from Lisa H. I was wondering how much longer we have to do a launch blitz and rank now that we're only a couple of weeks away from Christmas. My pre-launch is taking longer than I expected, and I won't be the launch until later this weekend. Will that be too late? Absolutely not. That won't be too late. As a matter of fact, if anything, if you would have launched a few weeks ago, I might have said those too early because you were competing with a bunch of people who are selling products and selling hundreds or thousands a day. So right now is a great time to launch. And after this weekend is a great time to launch. As a matter of fact, after Christmas would be a great time to launch because here's my thinking on this. Not a lot of normal sales go on between Christmas and New Year's. So if you are able to get a higher number of sales during Christmas and New Year's, you should be able to do some pretty good ranking because not your other products, your competition won't be doing as many sales as they normally do. So absolutely don't worry about it. Wait till this weekend, get things in line, and then go ahead and launch. Do not hold off. From Francisco Cabrera, my current ACOS is around 49%. when is it advisable to stop spending aggressively on my PPC if my product is already on page one? If you're already on page one, you're happy where your positioning is, you don't have to spend aggressively anymore. Now, I would start trying to lower your bids right now. If you're on page one, you're getting sales, try to lower it so you're making some money off those ad sales as well. If you notice that your ranking goes down, like your organic ranking goes down from page one, you need to consider spending some more money, increasing those bids again. Here's the thought. So I don't know, Francisco, how many sales you're making, but if you're making 10 sales a day, and if chances are only 3 or 4 of those are coming from PPC. So even though it seems like you're giving up 50% of your profit margin, you probably aren't, because you'll also get organic sales because of the increased sales and sales volume you're getting. So it's not always the right thing to do to think about that particular campaign, whether or not you're losing money on that campaign, because if it's driving enough sales, enough search ranking for you, and you're still making a profit margin overall, that might be the right thing to do. I don't know all the numbers to look at, but I would feel comfortable lowering your costs now in order to start getting those a little better, maybe down to your profit margin, and then hopefully you're still making a profit overall for all your sales. Again, if you notice when you lower that all your sales go down, so you're not just losing sales off PPC, you're losing sales organically, then you need to increase those ad costs, the ad spend again. Another one from Francisco. I'm running sponsor ad campaigns, and there are a few competitors' ASINs devouring my budget, but getting me no sales. Is it possible to include these ASINs as negative keywords in the campaign to stop the budget bleeding? Gosh, it's a great question. I believe the answer is yes. I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, that you can put ASINs in the negative keywords, and that way your ads should not show up on there. I know for a fact with the new update to sponsored product ads, how they have keyword targeting and now product targeting. They tell you if you're trying to target a certain product, you can also exclude using negative products, so negative ASINs for your keywords to keep your product from showing up for those products. I'm pretty sure it'll work on the regular sponsored product ads too. So go ahead, put it in there, because that should help. If anything, it's not going to hurt, but I'm pretty sure it is going to it's going to help you out by putting those negative keywords. From Sophianne, I heard about something called Chinese New Year. Yes, that is coming up in a few months here. Now, knowing that factories stop working during that period, what difference will it make for members like me who are still in the product selection process? Should we continue on or stop until that period is over, since a lot of things can happen during the time we find a product and the time when the product is live? So definitely don't stop no matter what. Now, there's always going to be a time lapse between when you find your product and when you actually get it live, because you have to you have to find your supplier, you have to work them on all the packaging and getting everything figured out. You have to have them manufacture it, you have to have it shipped. It can be anywhere from 45 to 90 days after you find it, and things could have changed then. So that's not a reason to stop. If your product meets the criteria right now, don't worry about Chinese New Year. There is a chance that Chinese New Year could delay the launch of your product, which is normal. It happens to a lot of people launching this time. That's totally fine. So don't let that hold you up. Absolutely keep moving forward. And then once you've ordered your product, you'll be good to go as soon as Chinese New Year is over and they get the order in. So another question from Matthew Turvey regarding Facebook ads in the launch lesson. We're told to check our ads to make sure that our ads are getting enough impressions, enough clicks and offers. But what is the right ratio? For example, if I'm getting 1,000 impressions, how many clicks should I be getting? If I'm getting 100 clicks, how many offers should be saved? There is no perfect answer. I know they give it a lot, but it is true. However, while Rich was talking intelligently on and answering a whole bunch of questions, I did some research. I looked into my own Facebook ads accounts to give you some real statistics. So I wrote those down here. So for the click rate. So let's say that if you have 1,000 impressions, on average, I'm seeing anywhere from 1% to 3% of people will click on average for those impressions. So that would be anywhere from 10 to 30 clicks you would get for each 1,000 impressions. I know it sounds really, really small, but that's kind of the way advertising is. The actual number of people who see your ad and actually click on it is pretty small. So the average I'm seeing is 1 to 3%. I did have a few campaigns that were really big discounts and seemed to take off very well, but I got around 6%. But on average, 1 to 3% of clicks to impressions is about right. Now, from offers based upon your clicks, it should be a little bit higher. So if you're getting 100 clicks, I would think you should probably get around 10%, maybe 20%, if not more, of people who actually saw your ad because they're interested in it, actually saving your offer. So clicks, 1 to 3%. Offers, then once they get on there, offers, so they're not like buying your product, but they're actually saving the offer, I would say about 10 to 20% you should be getting there. All right, for the shortest question of the day award goes to Sean Malik. Sean, not making fun of you. That's an awesome question. It's very detailed, but it was really long. So Sean says, I'm all set to order my inventory, but now I'm questioning the packaging and I'm holding off until I can figure this out. And Sean wants to open this up to community here. So first, I was set to go through a supplier and have them handle all of the packaging for me, doing all the printing. And as expected, I would just pay a one-time printing fee for them to set this up. But the more I thought about it and saw that the other products supplier, I saw that this supplier had other products that make excellent additions to my brand in the future. Good thing to look for, Sean. So then I started thinking of a package design, which is both economical and could be used across the board. By the way, where you're going, we're doing this too. The UPCs would be labeled on separately. The printing will be done through another vendor and on poly bags instead of a box. That's what Sean's thinking. The supplier was okay with this, but they mentioned there would be labor charges now associated since I'm using another supplier label and package items for sending them to me. The supplier has machines to handle their own packaging to reduce manual labor costs, which handle the labeling and packaging of the product. But because I'm using an outside vendor to provide the poly bags, I would incur labor costs since they would have someone have to get someone to manually pack and put the labels on the products. So in the long run, the poly bags seem like a good idea since I wouldn't have to pay additional printing fees every time I want to add a new product line. But at the same time, these labor costs are variable and I don't want to pay higher labor costs as I begin to order higher quantities. With this big dilemma, I turn to you, valuable community, in order to help guide me in what the packaging option is. So we actually asked this question of the mentors, Sean, earlier, and the one who came up with the immediate and best answer was Tracy, who is now Rich's favorite. She has definitely taken over my spot here, so that's okay. I'm not going to be too upset or cry on this call here. But let me tell you what Tracy offered, and it really was a great answer. Let me scroll up real quick. Let's see. So her answer was, why not make a generic box with just your brand name on it? And then you can have also made in China on it, and you can just apply a UPC label and the product name on that label itself. As long as the box can work with several items, why not do that? They have packaging for several items, the same thing. They're doing similar packaging for several items. And the only thing different in their packaging is a 2x2 label that they have applied to it that has the product details and barcode on it. That's something that we do as well. So, well, similar. So what she's saying is, if your products can fit all in one bag, have them designed, or one box, have them all designed the exact same way, and then just put on the label of the product and UPC, and you should be good to go. Now, if you want to have slightly different packaging, that's fine too. What we do is we use the exact same design. Like we have some really cool graphics on our boxes, but it's the same graphic along all of our boxes. And the only thing we change then is just the name of the product. We don't have it put onto it with a label. We do have it actually printed on with the rest of it, but our design costs are really simple. So we have like this template of a box. Anyone who's seen like a PDF with a packaging template, the template has this background image that's on all of our products. And then we just put the graphics of our product name on it and the UPC on it. And that's it. And that way it makes the design process really simple and still looks really good. So the way you're thinking about it is a great idea. If it makes sense for your brand, we all have talked about, we think that's a great plan to go. Create some common packaging that you can reuse. Simplest approach, just put a different sticker with your product and UPC on there. A slightly more complicated approach would be to actually have the boxes printed, but use same background, but just like print the different product name on there. So great question, Sean. Next one from Mitch Caballo. I've been on page 2 for quite some time, going up and down in rank. What would be better to do? Another campaign on Facebook, like a mini LBR, or should I increase my keyword bid? So my answer would be yes and yes. If you're on page 2 and you really want to move up, what this really comes down to, I've had like several conversations. The mentors and several members have had several conversations about this. What really makes you move up for whatever keyword you're targeting via search is your conversion rate. So if people are, buying your product, how many of them are actually like visiting it and end up buying it? Is it 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%? So what you need to do is whatever's going to increase your conversion rate. So if you are not converting very well right now, let's imagine that you can go into your reports. We talk about this in the course. Go see what your conversion rate is. If you're converting less than 10%, I don't know if bidding more on your sponsored keywords is going to help you, because you will get more traffic, but nothing's different about your product really. Then only 10% of those people are still only going to buy it. Now, if you're converting pretty well already, let's say it's 15%, maybe higher, then yes, then go ahead and increase your bids on your sponsored product ads, and go ahead and also do a small LBR using your storefront search LBR to drive more traffic. But before you spend money in those, make sure you're converting really well. If you're not, you need to look at why your product is not converting. Is it the listing, the images? Is it the title? Is it the price? Is it the reviews? Maybe you need a few more reviews. But so that's really the first question. How well are you converting? If it's good, I would say well above 10%, maybe 12, 15%, then spend money on LBR and your sponsored product ads. If you're below 10%, then try to figure out why you're not converting well and try to increase your conversions. Okay, so from Skarami, we've answered some questions in the back. Had great questions this call also. I'm on module 6, which is talking about selecting an exact keyword. Do you pick the primary keyword and target keyword based just upon the number of giveaways? So for those of you who've been to module 6, you've used Cerebo. We're trying to figure out exactly which keyword we're going to be targeting and exactly how many products we need to target to sell every day in order to start ranking for that. I don't use just the number of giveaways as how to choose which keyword I'm going to target, but it is a big part of it. So I like looking at the other criteria, like how many exact search volume there is, and also how many I need to give away. But if you're on a fixed budget, let's say that you can only give away 80 products, then you are kind of limited. You want to make sure that the total number you're going to give away is 80 or 8 a day. 10 a day over 8 days. So I would, if that's your like limiting factor, how many you give away, then that kind of leads you to looking at that number, to forcing you to choose that. But if you're not limited, just how many you need to give away, also look at the search volume. That guides me to it also. So if I know that there are like 3 keywords and all of them involve me giving away anywhere from 100 to 100 products for my launch or selling those at a discount, then I'm going to pick the one that I think I have the best chance of ranking for and then has the most traffic, but yet is not overly competitive. So from Tuan Hong, I contacted Flexport and they told me that they don't work with sole proprietors. I did tell them, however, I live in California. Sorry that didn't work for you. Could you say that paying on Freightos is good enough? And does that company on Freightos also do freight forwarding, or do they only do shipping? So first off, you have Flexport, several freight forwarders now, to protect their own interests. They are forcing people to go ahead and get your own LLC set up. Not all of them, don't worry, it's not everyone. They want to make sure that they are absolutely able to get their money back. And it's easier to get money from a business than it is a sole proprietor. Don't let that hold you off. Still contact freight forwarders, whoever's on this call. If you're a sole proprietor, a sole proprietor, don't let that keep you from doing it. Go out there and try to find one of the freight forwarders. If for some reason they tell you that they need you to have a company, then yeah, you can go to Freightos. And Freightos isn't a company that does shipping. They provide services. They provide a list of all different kinds of shipping companies that actually will provide your freight forwarding for you. So if you can't find one of ours in the private vault, absolutely go to Freightos, find one of those companies on there that's giving you a really good freight quote, and use them. And they will do both freight forwarding and importing. But once you select one, just make sure you reach out to them, ask them that question, tell them that not only do you need to import the products, you need to forward them on to Amazon and apply the shipping labels. Just make sure you do that before you actually purchase it, and you should be fine. Because maybe there's a couple on there that don't do it. I don't know. But find one, contact them, ask them if they do that, and you should be fine. I know lots of people have had really good results from Freightos. So from Matthew Turvey, I'm just now agreeing on order terms with my supplier. I have custom designed the outer shell of my product that I submitted to them to manufacture. Is there, or at this stage, is there anything I can do to ensure they don't share my design to any other Amazon seller? I mean, in general, when we're working with any suppliers from another country, you don't have a lot of legal things you can do, because let's imagine that you come up with a contract and say, you guys agree you'll never share this with anyone. Well, if they decide to share that, I'm not trying to scare everyone, hear me out here, but if they decide to share that, all you can do is sue them, and suing a company that's not in the same country you're at is very, very difficult to do because they don't follow the same laws as we do. Now, rewinding, backing up a step, I wouldn't worry about that as much. Like, it just does not happen that often. I can't promise you that it'll never, ever happen that they will not share your design with someone else. But in general, these companies want to work with you. They want to keep you happy. If you've given them the impression that you're going to be a really good supplier, the last thing they want to do is tick you off and start screwing you over and sharing all your intellectual property with someone else. So don't worry about that as much. Now, what you do have as a recourse, if you create this really cool design and they sell it to someone else and that other someone else starts selling on Amazon, then you have a problem with that company selling on Amazon because that's your intellectual property, your design, your copywriting, your packaging that you design, the words you put on there, those are all trademarked and copyrighted. Well, they're not trademarked, they're copyrighted. You own that content. So if someone else copies exactly what you do, then you can get an attorney involved and sue them because they're selling in the same country you are and they're using your intellectual property. And it doesn't matter if they got it from a supplier in China who said, oh no, it's totally fine. You own that intellectual property. Anything you develop yourself, including instruction manuals, including the title of your product, including whatever you put in your packaging, you're the owner of the intellectual property. Okay, from Kelly Madani in Module 3, Mike told us that we can save money if we print the FN SKU on the box instead of putting a label in the packaging. So my question is, if I choose to do that, to have the FN SKU printed on there, do I have to print the UPC also? The answer is no, you do not. If you're actually printing the FN SKU on there, you don't have to put the UPC on there. And the second follow-up is, if I don't print the UPC on there, could I put it on later when I decide to sell my product outside of Amazon? Absolutely, you could. Both of those are completely valid options. And if that helps you to save a little money right now, then you can do that later on. We just tell people like to be prepared for launching to the entire world later on. I prefer to have the UPC printed on my box and then have the FN SKU label put on top of it, but you do not have to do that. And it sounds like you have a really good understanding of how things will work later on when you decide to expand. So you're totally good to do that. Okay, from Oaken Sage, it seems to me that I deleted products during product research based upon different material differences, and that actually will still be competing against ranking for my selected primary and target keywords. This is partially because my product is a 5-pack and the keyword does not exclude singles, and also partially because my keyword is pretty specific. But there's still a lot of variation in products that would target this word. I'm pretty sure this is really the best keyword though, and it is my primary keyword. So is there anything to consider when planning LBR given this type of situation? Because I'm worried that I'm really in competition with the lower BSR products that I might have thought were not there because they were removed from my product selection criteria. So that's a great point. So if you're selling a 5-pack of a product that as a single is really, really, really competitive, yeah, I would seriously reconsider that because I think that you are in essence competing against them. I know that like yours will be different because it's got, multiple units in there, but I still think it's going to be really competitive. I would shy away from that. The best way to know is just do a search using your primary keyword and see if those other products come up. If they do, and they're in a really low BSR that kind of puts your primary out of the ranges that you should be looking for, then I would remove that. I'm not saying you need to, but do that search. Use your primary keyword, search for them. If those uber competitive products show up, they will be your competition, and I would not go for them. From Elizabeth DNL, I want to refer to California Proposition 65 on my listing because of fiberglass in my product, although it is such a little bit that it's not dangerous for the health, and our competitors don't do that. Do I need to fill in the compliance part too? Oh, I am not an expert at this one, Elizabeth. I believe that there really is just a box you need to check on your product listing. And what happens is Amazon's going to automatically put that on your listing just to tell people that you are complying with the California law, that there may be hazardous products and hazardous materials in your product. Honestly, I don't have an answer to that. I don't think any of the mentors, anyone, the best thing for this one to do is I would contact Seller Central and just ask them if you're going to check that, do they need to fill out anything else on there? But really, from what I've seen so far, it's just a checkbox inside of your listing. That's all you need to do. Last question, Rich. So while I do this, if you want to do the one thing that you do so well for every one of these calls. So Mike, I'm currently studying Module 6, which is the part where I'm refining the list of keywords for our product. When I did the filter of at least 1,500 searches for exact search volume, I'm left with only 2 keywords. Is this still a healthy volume? Should I refine my search, look for broader search terms with higher exact search volume? And please note, I'm targeting a primary product with an estimated 40K in monthly revenue. If you're only left with 2 keywords, I think you're okay. I really do. Because at least you have 2 keywords you can be targeting. There seems to be plenty of volume. And even though since that's the exact search volume, we know that the broad volume is going to be higher. I don't think I would exclude those. I think those 2 keywords are the ones that I would go for. That sounds like a really, really good opportunity. And a product that's doing 40K in revenue, that's really good because it's not uber competitive that you're going to have a hard time ranking for, but it's also got some significant revenue attached to it. We can do really well. So yeah, Mitz La Vista, I don't think it's a problem at all. And I have one more over here, it looks like, in the live section, maybe 2 more. From Qtrinka. Hi, Mike and Rich and mentors. I hope you all had a great day so far. We are, thank you. I have a question. One of my products in my list needs AA batteries, either 1.5 volt or 3 volt to operate. Other sellers have them included in their packages. Does this type of battery make it in the avoid list? And do I need to worry about it? And can I sell it without providing batteries in the package? So just regular batteries like alkaline or dry cell batteries, they're not anything that's on the product to avoid list. So don't worry about that at all. And you can include them in your products. It doesn't cause any issues at all. Amazon's totally fine with regular batteries. And then your last question, can you sell it without the batteries? You absolutely can. There's nothing that says you have to give batteries to those stinking needy customers of yours. But it really is your choice. We have products that have batteries. Some of them we provide batteries, some we don't. We make it on a product by product call. Some of our batteries are D-size batteries. And the reason that we no longer provide those batteries, they make the products really heavy. Like if you have to include and ship D-cell batteries, those are very heavy and increase our shipping costs. So for those, we don't provide them anymore. So we're doing that. We're doing just fine. Other batteries, we do provide them. Usually they're pretty cheap if you want to give them to your supplier. I bet with AA batteries, you can get them for like 20 cents each from your supplier. So if they can include them, it's another perk and only costs you probably about 40 cents more. So it's up to you. If they're cheap and affordable, I would include them. And then my last question. Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for what you and Rich do. My sister is at University of Illinois getting her PhD right now. That's awesome. I didn't notice your jacket before, and I know you worn a couple of different U of I stuff before from Oklahoma. That is awesome. So my son and I went up to U of I about a month ago to visit it. He's a senior. He's looking at colleges, and U of I is my old alma mater. For those you don't know, it's University of Illinois. It's in a town called Champaign, actually Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, right in the middle of the state, in the middle of the country, and there's absolutely nothing there other than university. But the university is awesome. The little town around it is awesome. It's a great place. So that's it. Go U of I. Rich, that is all that I have if you're ready for your one incredibly important, difficult job.
Yeah, the mentor just pointed out that you skipped a question.
I did. You want to read it to me? Where was it at?
It's the second to last one. Did you answer that?
Is it in? Oh, it's in. I haven't been looking at Skype.
No, no. It's in the Hangout.
In the
one above the one you just answered about the university. It's in the Hangout chat.
Why is Mike always asking us where Rich is? Well, we want to know, where is Mike? Okay, you know what? Here, quick little test. Who here knows where I live? And I think city or even the state will suffice.
Ooh, that's a tricky one. It's not as obvious as it might be. People might think.
All right, get let the update.
I don't think anyone's listening to us anymore, Mike.
Are the questions updated?
Yeah, it's just the mentors are doing such a good job of it. Oh, St. Louis, Texas. No, Morteza, I'm sorry, buddy. It's not Texas. That's where I normally spend most of my time, but not Mike.
So Kawaji one, St. Louis is the best answer. I actually live in a small suburb of St. Louis across the Mississippi River in a little bitty town. But yeah, I have an office in St. Louis. Right now I'm out of my home. which is in Illinois. We're right next to it. Good guess, OC333 about Chicago. I visit up there often. My wife is from Chicago, so the in-laws are up there in Chicago. So we're up there pretty often. But yeah, so I'm right in St. Louis, Missouri, right smack dab in the middle of the United States.
And just to complete the answer to that, the main reason he asked where I am is because I don't even know where I'm going to be. As sad as it sounds, I'm actually homeless.
That is why we do that all the time, because really it reminds me where the heck Rich is at, because I don't know when I talk to him.
Actually, this year hasn't been. I don't know. Oh, actually, the bonus call next week will be from somewhere different, and won't even be America or the Americas. But yeah, it's I tend to travel a lot because I literally don't have a home. I had a place in Austin, I gave it up because I like to travel, so I go and stay in places for a month at a time. Because I can do my work and everything from anywhere, because that's the beauty of this job. And if you remember from the week 2 call, that's my why. My why is to travel. And because of this amazing business, I get to do it. So I was distracting everybody because I'd forgotten to do the one job. I'm kidding. So this week, something very special happened this week. We literally could not split 2 people. So we're actually giving away 2 winners this week. Which is all good because it costs Mike more money. So I'm going to go in reverse order. So I'm going to talk about the people who've won a community helper badge for helping people out. You know the gist of this by now, for encouraging people and all that kind of stuff. And we will tell you what, we're going to do one next week on the bonus call. So now is the time. You could get a community helper badge. Get in there and help people. You don't have to know the answers. You don't have to answer questions, just encourage people and just be an active part of the community, because it's literally, we're actually talking about this the other day. The community is so important to the success of ASM and our members. It really is. So getting in there and being part of the family in there is so important. So these people all get a community helper badge. And the first 2 are actually a slight anomaly because they're not ASMX. They're from previous ASM memberships, but they were jumping in, helping everyone out. So I just want to give a big shout out to Strickler Carpet Sales. You need to change your username, dude, seriously. And also Amanda Wallace. You've both been helping out, especially with Strickler Carpet Sales. He helped me personally with something that a lot of members were having issues with. So a huge shout out to him and to Amanda for helping out too. But now to the other community helpers, you're all going to get a community helper badge. We've got Main Fante 89, not heard that name before, so that's good. Drew Howard, again, I don't think you've been mentioned on a call before. Jay Windack, 83, again, new to this. So that's awesome that you've been getting in there and helping out. And Saeed too, I believe you have already got a community help badge on one call before. I have to double check that. But the 2 winners, I think one of them has actually been mentioned like 4 or 5 of the calls, and the other on 3 or 4 of the calls. So, excuse me, it really was pretty much of a no-brainer. And as I said, the mentors couldn't, basically they were arguing about it. They were like voting, and we split the votes down the middle. So we're giving them both an extra 30-minute call with one of our mentors. And the winners are BLS Pava, and you'll probably all recognize both of these names. And the other one is Carlos Burgos 2501. So both of you are going to get an extra mentor call with one of our amazing mentors. And that's all she wrote, Mike. Actually, you know one thing before you close out. Mike's like, damn, I thought I was going to get to leave. I just want to talk, like, I don't even know whether Mike planned to do this because I have not looked, but this is the week 8 call. So we're at the end. Like, this is the last call, but it's only the last official call, the last module call. We will still be doing calls for you. Like, we love doing them. The mentors love doing it. And we know how important it is to you guys, and especially the value of the recordings we get from them. So as I said, we're doing a bonus one next week, and then probably in the new year, early in January, we'll do another one, and we'll try and do it on a regular basis so that, you know, no matter what level you get to in this business, we're still there for you. We're still on the calls with you, because it's great getting your questions answered in the community by us and by the mentors especially, but it's always good, you know, it always feels good to have your question read out and answered on the call. And the benefit of having people watch this and listen to it, and actually, you know, without having to like troll through the community looking at all the posts, they get to hear questions that quite probably they're going to have soon enough in their business. So we love doing them. We're going to keep doing them. We're not leaving you alone. The course is going to end, but it's not going anywhere either. But I know Mike's probably going to touch on that, because he can't say, and don't forget, tomorrow module will open, because there ain't one, right? There is no module 9. But that's all I've got to say. I've had a blast with you for the last 8 weeks, and long may it continue. But it's all yours, Mike.
All righty. Well, I don't have a lot more to cover other than we do have lots more cool stuff for you guys in mind. We have some free stuff that we will be giving to you guys. We're not going to announce it right now because you aren't ready for it right now, but we want you all to know that there's more stuff coming. We're just like what Rich said, this is not the end of it. We're going to have calls. We're going to have these live calls. We're going to do these interviews. So you guys will get tons of support in the community. The mentors are still there. We're still here. We'll still have these calls. We have free stuff coming up for you later on that we know you'll be excited about. We just want to make sure everyone focuses on one thing and one thing only: getting your product up and selling. That's the most important thing you can do right now. And then later on, we'll have some really cool things that we can actually offer to you to help that help make that happen even faster. So that's it, everyone. We've been on the call a lot longer than we thought. We always say that. You guys ask amazing questions. Seriously, these questions are great. Keep them coming. The mentors, what the heck? I don't even know. I'll mix their names at this time. Steve, Tracy, Joanne, Elaine. I always feel bad who I'm going to put in the order, but thank you guys so much. You guys do an amazing job answering questions. You make our lives easier for us, which is the most important thing in the world to Rich and I. But to our members, you make their businesses even more successful, which is really important to them. So yeah, we all thank you. Everyone else, thanks so much. We will see whoever's going to join us next Tuesday. Remember, covering modules 1 and 2. No, I'm sorry, Thursday. Next Thursday, 2 p.m. Central. Questions covering product selection and also supplier selection, all next Thursday, same time. Until then, have a great weekend, and we'll see you all real soon.